Age gap romances have long been a rich source of drama, conflict, and beauty in the world of cinema, especially when viewed through the lens of LGBTQ+ stories. The complexities of love between individuals of different ages are intensified in these films, often presenting a unique narrative on power dynamics, life experiences, and personal growth. In the following list, we explore 10 remarkable age gap gay romance movies that not only celebrate love, but also challenge the societal norms that surround it. Whether you're already familiar with some of these films or discovering new gems, these movies offer a compelling look at the human heart, age, and sexual identity. 1. Gerontophilia, 2013. At its core, Gerontophilia is about love that defies conventional norms. Directed by Canadian auteur Bruce LaBruce, known for his provocative work, this film handles the romance between Lake, a 20-something young man, and Mr. Peabody, an elderly resident at the nursing home where Lake works. LaBruce takes a deliberately subtle approach to a potentially controversial subject, an age gap romance between an elderly man and a young caretaker. The film raises questions about society's discomfort with age gap relationships, especially within the LGBTQ+ community, by making their love story less about sexual attraction and more about emotional connection and companionship. Gerontophilia shifts focus from the taboo to the tenderness in such relationships. For LGBTQ+ audiences, this film serves as a reminder that love doesn't have an expiration date, and deep affection can flourish between individuals of any age. 2. Call Me By Your Name, 2017. Luca Guadagnino's Call Me By Your Name is arguably one of the most celebrated gay romance films of the last decade. The film tells the story of 17-year-old Elio, a precocious teenager living in northern Italy, who finds himself drawn to Oliver, a 24-year-old graduate student spending the summer working with Elio's father. The age gap between Elio and Oliver is pivotal in shaping their relationship. Elio, on the cusp of adulthood, sees Oliver as a symbol of freedom and self-assurance, while Oliver is both enchanted by and cautious of Elio's youthful intensity. The film's exploration of the emotional development of both characters mirrors the complexities that can arise when older and younger partners navigate the evolving dynamics of love, mentorship, and desire. In many ways, Call Me By Your Name transcends its age gap premise to explore universal themes of love and loss, but it never loses sight of how those themes are deepened by the different life stages of the two protagonists. For LGBTQ+ viewers, this film portrays an experience many can relate to: the yearning for a mentor figure and the painful realization that love, especially first love, is often temporary but deeply transformative. 3. Shelter, 2007. In Shelter, the central romance is between Zach, a young aspiring artist, and Sean, the older brother of Zach's best friend. What makes this film particularly touching is the gentle and understated way it portrays the age gap romance, as Sean, who is established, mature, and grounded, helps Zach navigate not only his family responsibilities but also his coming out journey. Age gap relationships are often fraught with imbalances, but Shelter succeeds in portraying a romance built on mutual respect and care. Zach's youth and inexperience make him unsure of his place in the world, while Sean, older and more self-assured, offers the guidance and stability Zach craves. Their relationship is a safe harbor for Zach, who is caught between his dreams and family obligations. The film is one of the few gay romance movies that eschews sensationalism, choosing instead to present an honest and heartwarming relationship that evolves naturally, offering a perspective on how age gap relationships can foster growth, understanding, and healing. 4. For a Lost Soldier, 1992. Set in the final days of World War II, For a Lost Soldier tells a sensitive and poignant love story between a young Dutch boy, Jeroen, and a Canadian soldier. The age gap between the boy and the soldier is stark, but the film handles this dynamic with grace, avoiding exploitation in favor of exploring the tenderness and vulnerability that can exist in such relationships. The movie dives into the delicate intersection of emotional need, trauma, and love. Jeroen, living in the chaos of war, finds in the soldier a figure of stability, protection, and affection, while the soldier is drawn to the innocence and longing of the boy. The film's controversial nature stems from its portrayal of the complexities of love in a time of crisis, where lines between emotional and romantic attachment blur. In the context of LGBTQ+ cinema, For a Lost Soldier explores the hidden, often unspoken bonds formed between people of different ages during times of uncertainty. While the film treads carefully on sensitive ground, it ultimately portrays the soldier's affection as one of care and love rather than manipulation, adding to the nuance of age gap romances in queer storytelling.
So you've never touched it before? Like even as a kid?
No.
5. Down Low, 2023. A newer entry into the world of age gap gay romance films, Down Low takes a refreshing, comedic approach to the dynamic. The film follows Gary, a closeted man who has never acted on his attraction to men. After his divorce, he hires Cameron, a much younger and more experienced male escort who helps him explore his sexuality. What makes Down Low stand out is the lighthearted way it addresses coming out later in life and navigating the world of gay relationships at an older age. Gary's tentative, sometimes awkward first steps into gay romance are contrasted with Cameron's confidence and savvy. The movie's humor stems from this clash of generations and sexual experiences, but beneath the comedy lies a sincere exploration of age gap relationships in the LGBTQ+ community. For older queer individuals like Gary, coming out can feel daunting, especially when the LGBTQ+ scene seems dominated by younger, more liberated people. Down Low provides a compassionate look at these experiences, demonstrating that it's never too late to explore your true self and find meaningful connections, regardless of age. 6. Maurice, 1987. Based on the novel by E.M. Forster, Maurice is a sweeping romantic drama that tells the story of a young man in early 20th century England struggling with his sexual identity. The film, directed by James Ivory, stars James Wilby as Maurice and Hugh Grant as Clive, his aristocratic friend with whom he falls deeply in love during their time at Cambridge. The relationship between Maurice and Clive is complicated by societal pressures, as homosexuality was still illegal in England at the time. Their connection represents the passionate but forbidden nature of gay relationships during this era, and the age gap between Maurice and his later lover, Alec Scudder, played by Rupert Graves, adds a layer of complexity to the story. Alec, a younger working-class gamekeeper, develops a deep affection for Maurice, which contrasts sharply with Maurice's more restrained and secretive romance with Clive. The film is not only a powerful portrayal of gay love, but also highlights the struggles faced by LGBTQ+ individuals in oppressive societies. The age gap dynamic between Maurice and Alec is especially significant because Alec represents freedom from the social restrictions Maurice has long felt bound by. Their love is raw, honest, and liberating, making it one of the most compelling age gap romances in LGBTQ+ cinema. For anyone seeking a film rich with emotional depth, historical context, and an intense portrayal of forbidden love, Maurice is a must-watch. The chemistry between the actors and the lush cinematography make this movie a timeless classic, celebrated for its positive depiction of gay relationships despite the constraints of the time period. 7. Weekend, 2011. Weekend is a tender and intimate film that tells the story of Russell and Glenn, two men who meet for what is initially a one-night stand but evolve into something far deeper. Although their age gap isn't the focal point, Glenn's world weariness and experience contrast with Russell's quiet longing for connection. The film is a delicate exploration of the often fleeting nature of modern relationships, and it uses the age difference between the characters to explore how life experience shapes the way we approach love. For Glenn, life is lived openly and unapologetically, while Russell, more reserved, struggles with the emotional complexity of their brief time together. For those who have experienced short but transformative relationships, Weekend is a powerful reminder that age gap romances can offer more than just passion. They can also bring emotional clarity and self-acceptance, even if the love is temporary. 8. A Single Man, 2009. Tom Ford's directorial debut, A Single Man, is a visually stunning portrayal of grief, love, and redemption. Colin Firth stars as George, a middle-aged English professor in 1960s Los Angeles, mourning the loss of his longtime partner, Jim. George's life changes when he meets Kenny, a much younger student who reignites a spark of hope in him. The age gap romance in A Single Man is central to its narrative. Kenny's youth and curiosity offer George a glimpse into a future he had thought closed off by his partner's death. For George, Kenny represents a second chance at life and love, while Kenny is drawn to George's intellect and emotional depth. The film delicately handles their relationship, using their age difference to emphasize the transformative power of love, even when it comes from unexpected places. 9. Lanu, 2001. In Lanu, set in Beijing, we see a poignant romance between Lanu, a young student from the countryside, and a successful older businessman. The film takes a deep dive into the intersection of class, age, and sexual identity, exploring the sacrifices both characters make as they fall in love. The businessman, caught between his desire to maintain his professional image and his affection for Lanu, embodies the internalized homophobia often seen in closeted older men. Meanwhile, Lanu's youth and naivety make him more willing to embrace the risks that come with loving another man in a conservative society. This movie is especially important for its depiction of gay life in China, where LGBTQ+ individuals often face repression and isolation. The age gap element adds an extra layer of complexity, as both characters must navigate societal expectations alongside their personal desires. 10. My Private Idaho, 1991. My Private Idaho, directed by Gus Van Sant, is a deeply poetic film that follows two young hustlers, Mike, River Phoenix, and Scott, Keanu Reeves, as they journey through the Pacific Northwest. While the central relationship is not defined solely by their age difference, Mike's unrequited love for Scott adds a layer of poignancy to their bond. Mike, younger and more vulnerable, looks up to Scott as a protector and friend, while Scott, from a privileged background, sees Mike as a reminder of his own self-imposed exile from the expectations of his family. Their relationship, fraught with tension and longing, offers a subtle commentary on the power dynamics that often define age gap relationships in gay cinema. These 10 films showcase the diversity of age gap gay romances, from tender and intimate stories like Weekend to the more daring and provocative like Gerontophilia. Each film, in its own way, challenges the conventional boundaries of love and relationships, inviting viewers to reconsider what truly defines a meaningful connection. In an era where LGBTQ+ stories are finally being told more widely, these films serve as important representations of how love can blossom across generations, and how age gap relationships, especially in the gay community, are about far more than just age. They're about growth, healing, and the ways in which we find ourselves in others. Which of these movies speaks to you the most? Let me know if you'd like to explore more films like these, or need a deeper dive into any specific titles.